to compARTE and our month-long celebration of Latino artists during Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm Lizette Cruz Watko, the Executive Director of Diamante Arts and Cultural Center. Today, we're joined by an amazing woman. She's a poet, a writer, an educator. She's a philologist, which I think I mispronounced, but she'll tell us what that is. And she's from Colombia, living in Charlotte, and just released another book. It is my privilege to welcome to compARTE, Kurma Murrain. Kurma.
Hey, how are you, Lizette? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Kurma, I know you wear so many hats in the Latino art scene in Charlotte, but before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood in Colombia and where did the love for the written word come from?
Oh, that's, I think everybody is born with a gift or some kind of skill that they tend to develop during their lives. I was born in Bogota, in Colombia, and we were lucky. Actually, my generation was very lucky because we didn't have internet. It hadn't been invented yet, so we didn't have that screen in front of us all the time. So we dedicated our time to other activities, and my mother used to buy a lot of books, encyclopedias. We used to read a lot. I have a brother and we used to read together. And if we weren't playing outside of the house, we were reading. With the addition to me writing, my brother didn't have that in his DNA, I guess, because there were a few books that caught my attention with this poet, writer. I just forgot her name. But I used to read her poetry and it sounded so soothing, just the rhythm, the rhymes. I started writing like that, even though I didn't know what I was doing because it sounded good. And since my mother, and I guess everybody's first love is their mother, I started writing to her. So that was my first form of poetry, like romantic poetry to my mother.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So can you tell me one that you remember from
No.
your childhood?
I don't remember anything. I think I started writing when I was 4, and there's no record of that because I wrote in little papers, I wrote on napkins, on anything I could find around. So there's no record of my early writings. Even when I was a pre-teen, I used to write a lot of poems and I used to just keep them in my desk. Well, one day they cleaned the school and I arrived on Monday and my poems had disappeared.
Oh,
and
no.
I had like 100 pages here. And I recreated the ones that I remember, but that was lost. They didn't tell us they were gonna clean.
Why would they throw away stuff that, I mean, was it the end of school or?
No, it was the state test. So other people come to the school to take the test. That's why they just cleaned everything.
Qué pena.
Yeah, I know.
That's so sad. I'm sorry.
But I'm sure they were terrible, so it's okay.
I'm sure there was a gem in there somewhere. So how do you make this leap from going to college in Colombia for writing, I assume? And no, what did you tell me? You went to college in Colombia. Where did you go and what did you study?
I didn't have a lot of guidance, I guess. I knew I wanted to learn English, and I think I was good at languages, but I am very physical too. I love practicing sports, basketball, track, football, soccer, not American football. I used to do everything, gymnastics, ping pong, everything.
Wow.
So my first impulse for college was to study PE. And I actually did 3 semesters of PE, but I just realized I need something else, because I still love writing. I won some poetry contests at that college, but there wasn't anything that was feeding this desire to the words. So I applied to another university, and actually I was very blessed to pass the test to that university. It's Universidad Nacional de Colombia, and thousands try to go to that university, and many people try 3-4 times. So I was like very blessed that on my first test I passed. But I wanted to really learn English. I wanted to become a translator or an interpreter or something like that. But also I didn't know that they were going to change the career like in the middle of it. And they just announced this is going to be a licensure, so you are going to become teachers. And I'm like, okay. Well, you just do what you are told to do when you're that young, I suppose. So I continue, but well, we had excellent English teachers. We studied history and literature, but also didactics to be able to be teachers.
Okay, so how do you become a philologist? A
philologist.
There we go.
That's how they called this career at the beginning. It was called philology, and philology is the study of languages. So my first language was English, and I also took several other classes related to languages. But since you don't practice, you don't keep that information in your brain. But I did take French classes, German, Portuguese. And then after college, I started taking Italian because I just love it, which was very helpful when I became a teacher in the United States, because this is so international and you get students from all over the world. So sure. I could understand little words. I could respond to a few things, and they were all, oh, do you understand? So they were more careful about what they were saying. And
how did you get to the United States and North Carolina? How did you make it here?
That's like destiny. I was destined to live in Charlotte, North Carolina, because I applied to this program for teachers, international exchange program for teachers, and I really wanted to go to California because that's what I have seen in the movies, and the superstars, and everything is beautiful there. Mm-hmm. And then when I went through all the process, which was super long, like a couple of years, I received this email telling me that there is a school in Charlotte, North Carolina that wanted me. And when I look at the map, I was like, no.
Did you even know? You didn't even know where it was?
No, it was completely unfamiliar to me. What is Charlotte? Where is that? So I found the dot on the map, and then I did my little research, and well, I have to tell you that I moved here 17 years ago. So to me, it was a small, tiny town because Bogota, we are like 10 million people. And
it's a
here,
metropolis.
Yeah, at the time, I think the population was 800,000, not even 1 million. So I couldn't imagine, like, I love the big city. Why are you sending me to a small town? But I was, yeah, I was completely mistaken in many aspects of Charlotte because it's really beautiful. It has a lot of culture, especially now, a lot of festivals, um, artists. I have met so many artists, museums, libraries, banks. I love it. And that's why I stay here, because it's an amazing city.
So how did you go from being a teacher to getting into the art scene? Because you're very active. You've helped found some literary organizations or projects in Charlotte, and you work at the Mint Museum, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
how'd you make that leap?
I think everything you do gives you a little something for your future. I was a poet, or I am a poet, and when I arrived, somebody told me there was a poetry contest at the Mint Museum. That was in 2004. So I was for Latinos. That was like, that's great. And I started going, and I won 3 consecutive times. And I was super excited about that. And at the same time, some people started to recognize me at the museum, outside the museum. I met Edwin Gill, who is a big personality here in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to toot my horn a little bit. Edwin is a recipient of the Lizette Cruz Watko Award.
Oh,
so a long time ago. So.
But yeah, he's amazing, and no better person than him. He used to have a gallery where he had gatherings for artists, and he always invited me to read my poetry, so that other people started to recognize me, like, oh, you read the poem the other day, oh, that was beautiful. And that gave me a lot of confidence to just continue sharing my writings. Then my first language is Spanish, and I had written Spanish for my whole life. But once you move to a different country and start speaking a different language, then your brain starts to change. And I started writing poems in English, which was like, wow, I'm really immersed in this culture, because something so intimate that I could express in a different language just was a big change for me. And now I write in English more than I do in Spanish. So I published this one in March this year. And
Café, Amor y el Sueño Americano.
Café, Amor y el Sueño Americano. Yeah, so it's autobiographical, and it has a lot of poetry as well, because that's me. I am.
And now it's in English too?
And just a couple of days ago, I announced my book in the English version. So I'm very excited about that. I'm waiting for my copy, so yay. And you can find it in Amazon with the same name, but in English, Coffee, Love, and the American Dream.
Ooh, that's a lovely title. How did you come up with that?
I thought a lot. And I started thinking, what is my book about, actually? It is about myself, but also how do I relate to the world? How do I relate to the world? Well, I drink a lot of coffee, and the experiences with coffee were very diverse for me, because in Colombia, I don't know how it is right now, but I used to have my café con leche in the morning before going to school. And then el café tinto, which is the dark coffee with no milk. And sometimes we made it with, I don't know if you know panela, which is like, yeah, sugarcane.
Yeah.
So that was it. We had 3 varieties of coffee, and that was it. Then I arrived to the United States. Somebody takes me to Starbucks, and I don't know what to order because these names are so unfamiliar to me. Like, what? Hazelnut. What is that? So I just didn't, I was so strange to find 20 names for coffee. And I took a year to live in China. No coffee there.
Oh, really? So what did you do?
Well, for a few months, one of my friends gave me a little jar of instant coffee, so I used it for the first, I don't know, it lasted maybe 2 weeks. And then I tried to get used to drinking tea, but it never woke me up. It never woke me up. And finally, somebody took me to an international supermarket, but it was about 2 hours from where I was living. You know, China is huge, and there are people everywhere. So getting to the supermarket was an odyssey. It was just, oh my gosh, you get there, and I was so happy to find Nescafe and other brands. So I started going there every time I needed coffee or something to remind me of home, because it was so different.
Right.
But also the variety of tea, they make tea of almost anything. So that was interesting. And I tried to drink more coffee because that's good for you. But did I say tea or coffee? I tried to drink tea. But coffee, nothing replaced coffee for me. So I just love it.
So did you do a lot of writing while you were in China?
No. I was working all the time, actually. Chinese people are very hard workers. They work from early in the morning to late in the evenings, and sometimes I had to work on weekends. So I was just exhausted. So I wrote maybe 2 or 3 poems, but at the same time, the people from Charlotte were missing me, which is good. And I got 2 invitations from the Mill Museum to do a couple of programs on Skype. That was just awesome. And during the Chinese New Year, I went to visit. Well, everything is it was perfect in the sense that one of my cousins works for the American Embassy, and she was stationed in Thailand. I had the opportunity to visit Thailand, and from Thailand, I did another program for the Mill Museum on Skype. And I was like, okay, I think I have to go back to Charlotte, because
well, we're glad you're back. So how long have you been back?
It was 4 years ago.
Great.
Yeah, I came back in 2017.
So now that you have this book, are you gonna tour? Are you gonna speak? What is your plan with promoting the new book? And do you have another book that you're already thinking of?
Yeah, yes, and yes, and yes. Now that, well, I have the book in English and in Spanish, it's going to be much easier for me to do bilingual readings, because then people can have access to both languages. Right. Either if they only speak one language or the 2 of them, maybe they want to get the 2 books to compare their writings. Don't do that. But I just got an invitation to read at the public library here in Charlotte. That's going to be on October 14th. So put it on your calendars. And I got another invitation that's going to be next year for War Fest that is in Asheville. So that's very interesting as well. And oh, what else? I know.
And I can't wait for Afro Latinidad in February.
Exactly. Yes. So I'm going to see you in February, and I'm taking my books with me as well. And I hope I can do more poetry readings at the libraries here, because there are many, at least here in Charlotte. And actually my boyfriend is my promoter now. He's very good at that, and he's arranging my schedule.
Oh, good.
So he sent me a couple of messages today that were very good surprises. So I'm not gonna say anything, but really good.
Good. Well, do you dare to read a little bit, even if it's in Spanish, and we'll subtitle it?
Hoy es la repetición de acciones de todas las generaciones que anduvieron en mi piel. Los zapatos de mi padre me quedan grandes. Los vestidos de mi madre se sienten ceñidos, especialmente en las caderas, donde más he crecido en sabiduría y madurez. El presente me parió con un grito de independencia. Hoy camino mis pasos nuevos, le guiño el ojo al pasado y salto al trampolín del futuro. Soy negra, mestiza y blanca. El ritmo me mueve frenéticamente. Mi café con leche se deja sorber despacito en la mañana de hoy, en la que sonrío como la Mona Lisa, con las piernas entreabiertas a la espera de su visita.
Wow, qué belleza.
Gracias.
Qué poeta, Dios mío.
Muchas gracias.
Ya casi terminamos con nuestra media hora con Kurma, pero sí, media hora. Pero ¿qué es algo que tú quieres realizar que todavía no has realizado? I started speaking Spanish, folks.
I know, right?
That happens all the time. What is there? Is there something you haven't yet gotten to do that you would like to do? Some personal triumph that you want to achieve?
Well, I really want to speak another language. I know many people have that goal. I also love to dance, and I haven't taken that seriously. I dance folklore, but I would like to become an expert on folklore at the university. I used to belong to the dance group, and we travel around, and I miss that. So I would love to do that again. And well, I have to say that I'm in love. I'm in love. I've been in love with this man since I met him during the pandemic, and I would love to know what it's like to be married to him.
Oh, is that a proposal that has already been made? Or is that a proposal that you're throwing out to the universe?
I mean, it's coming.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, we have talked about it, and we definitely want to spend the rest of our lives together. So I really want to know what's gonna be like.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've been married for 27 years. So
same person?
To the same person. That's not including the 4 that we dated. So, nice. So it is possible to find a soulmate and a forever person in your life.
Yeah, soulmates. We are soulmates. Tortolitos.
Tortolitos, yes. So I know that you have a new book that you're writing. Can you tell us a little preview of what that may be about?
Yes, because I have been writing so much in English, and many of these poems haven't been published. I just want to publish one book completely in English, even though I already published this one, but that's a translation of another book. But this one would be all my writings that were written originally in English.
Oh, that is so exciting.
Yeah.
Well, we are so happy to have you in North Carolina. You are a gem. I hope to hear of all your other books coming up. And I can't wait to have you come to the Triangle for Afro-Latinidad in February.
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited about that. People need to know about us, about Black people in Latin America. Definitely is an educational experience, but also a cultural experience because we have so much to offer.
Correct. And that's why I wanted to do this project, because I think sometimes we misunderstand the community in a lot of ways. Not just the Afro-Latino community, but just the Latino community in general. We think of people in this one box when, you know, we have a whole bunch of overlapping boxes that just kind of create this, you know, abstract painting.
We are very similar, but we can be so different from each other. Yeah, I would love to contribute to this conversation.
Yeah, so we look forward to seeing you then again in person. And in what was it called in live color? What was it when TVs came around? Live and in
I don't remember.
I can't remember either. Well, thank you so much, Kurma, for joining us today here on compARTE. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Lizette. Thank you so much.
You can find Coffee, Love, and the American Dream and Café, Amor y el Sueño Americano on Amazon Books. Thanks for joining us. See you next Wednesday for another episode of compARTE. Don't forget to sign up for our Ofrenda workshop and home tabletop kit. Please join us on November the 6th at 7 p.m. for the 26th Annual Latino Diamante Awards. We will be streaming it live via Diamante Arts and Cultural Center's Facebook and YouTube channels. compARTE is a production of Diamante Arts and Cultural Center.